Yes. We have somebody very special in here today. Very special.
Very special.
Bolo! Hey. Before we get started with this video, gotta give a shout out to our sponsor, DistroKid. If you are trying to upload your music to all of the streaming platforms and get paid, go ahead and use DistroKid. It is the easiest way to upload your stuff. And if you have other writers and producers and you want them to get paid as well, you can create a team and then they can all get paid at the same time. No haggle. It is very simple and very easy. So go ahead and click that link in the description and you will save some money when you click that link using my personal link with DistroKid. So go ahead and click the link right now and let's go ahead and get to the interview. Somebody who I've been waiting to meet for a long time. And he's at my spot.
Come on, man. You already know.
He sold millions of records. Worked with damn near everybody.
He got a nice hit list on my belt, though.
And still working. That's the thing about it. Still working. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only DJ Toomp.
What's up, man? How you doing, Bolo?
Man.
Got me out here on the east side, baby. I love the setup, man. It's dope.
Man, hey, look, I appreciate you for coming by. This is for the culture.
Oh, man.
You know, usually I try to like cook-ups and all that good stuff or whatever, you know, because there's a lot of producers that are out. But man, we don't really got to do a cook-up. I really just want to just pick your brain and just really, I don't even know what to say right now.
Yeah, that holds about the same amount of weight as a cook-up, you know, just a game. You feel me? So I'm with you.
I think a whole bunch of people really need to know about you, how you started, you know what I'm saying, how the game was then, how the game is now. What changed, what didn't change, like what was your story? Because you can look up stuff on Wikipedia.
Yeah. And it's like 80% true most of the time, you know. You'll see some things, you'll be like, hold on, that's not right. That's not the right year, that's maybe not the right song or the artist.
Wow.
It's like people swear me down that I produced this Kanye song called The Blame Game. And everybody I see it like, man, Blame Game, one of my favorite joints. And I'm like, yo, I didn't produce that.
I would have probably took the credit.
I feel you. I'm not a good liar unless I'm in trouble. So, you know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, bro, honestly, man, you know, man, I started off just being a lover of music, really, you know, just straight up. You know, I used to sing as a kid, still sing a little bit now. I'm a great vocal producer as far as I can sing melodies and put hooks on a lot of joints. But like I say, from the, you know, born in '69, man, and
Damn.
Oh, my bad, man. I'm sorry. Hey, man, that's a good time, and I fuck with you on that. Hey, so, and so really, man, if you think in the 70s, man, there was really nothing you could really do but either play instruments, sing, or dance when it came to entertainment, you know, as far as music entertainment. And then later on, the DJ ended up being like an entertainer, because it got to a point where when scratching started and people started really manipulating songs, getting double copies, that became somewhat of entertainment. Like the DJ wasn't just a guy off in the corner who you don't see that's playing music. Now, you know, an actual DJ could put on a show. When Flash used to scratch back in the days and people gather around the table looking amazed because that shit was like performing magic in front of people. Really, because I used to play a lot of records and being, you know, when my dad let me mess with his stereo system. And I started playing with the pause button a lot. I hear a certain part of a record. And when I found out that you can really let the shit off on beat and maybe make a certain breakdown on a song, really almost a 2-minute breakdown instead of a 5-second, 10-second breakdown, that's when I started understanding looping, counting, timing. Like so I used to pop lock a little bit. So when you pop lock, it's like 1, 2, 3, go. Boom, 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 bap. So, you know, all that shit is like right in counting, you know, but I never really knew exactly what my lane was gonna be, you know what I mean? Because I can sing very well, but I just don't have the balls to get on stage and sing in front of no crowd.
You can sing like that?
Yeah, I can blow. Especially after I eat some lemons for about an hour or so. Oh yeah, I could hit some notes, I can go crazy. But I could speak in front of a crowd for hours, but I wouldn't get up and sing. But I go in that booth and sing a hook. And let's say if that song become a hit, and you want me to sing in your video, you gotta find somebody else. You gotta find Milli Vanilli for that shit. DJing, that once I really started getting good at it, man, and watching, and listening to other DJs. Like I say, Grandmaster Flash was definitely an inspiration. And I started understanding how the DJ can actually be somewhat of an entertainer, and really we run the show, and all that requires like reading the crowd.
Yeah.
After a while you'll see what song make people walk off the floor, and you start learning what songs make people run to the floor. Whether it's the intro of that song, or it might be the beats, or it might just be the vocal part. If that song is just that hot, they may hear just a millisecond of it and say, "Oh, that's my shit," and everybody run to the floor.
Yeah.
So when you're that person who can make people feel like that, because the feeling is what everybody really experience, that's what a person would know about you, of how they felt around you, or how you made them feel. So it's been times where I've DJ'd certain parties, man, and got an extra $100 just from the partiers. And like, hey man, boy, you goddamn, bro, I don't know how much they paid you, but man, boy, hey boy, your time in the man, I'm glad I ain't even thinking nobody would play certain songs, you know what I mean? So that's when I start understanding the power of a DJ, and like, okay, damn, I'm not a rapper, I don't play any instruments, and I used to pop lock. But I'm like, damn, this is really a lane in the entertainment business. And so yeah, after playing music and watching how people react, maybe it might be a certain part of the song that everybody love. So just imagine if you DJing and you see like, man, the crowd go crazy every time the song get to this part. So people just start sampling, just like Jive 122. I don't know if you remember that, but that's the song that they use on Clay D Boot the Booty.
Okay, I know.
So Jive Rhythm Tracks, yeah. So Jive Records used to put out these instrumental albums called Jive Rhythm Tracks.
Okay.
And they had one that was supposed to be like Planet Rock. That's that. Yeah. So that used to be called Jive 122, but really the BPM was 125 or 126. But they called it Jive 122. So every DJ, when they used to mix that in, the crowd used to go crazy. Because it mixed with Planet Rock, it mixed with Electric Kingdom, and a lot of other songs that are around that BPM. So that's when the Booty Shake era started banging out. Really just got hella popular. Clay D sampled 122, and man, we can name about 50 million other artists who got Jive 122, and I don't think Jive even ever cleared that shit.
Wow.
That might be one sample that a lot of people got away with. I hope I ain't waking nobody up. That's an example of playing certain records and being able to read crowds, and that way you even know what type of song to make for a certain crowd after a while, just from being a DJ, because you done had the advantages of really just seeing how you make people feel and how they react. You feel me? Yeah, once a person show you, I promise you, the same way that a DJ you may have a good DJ that's never produced, but once you show him, hey, on the MP, this stop, this play, this record, and if you mess up, here go undo, and each one of these pads got a drum sound. So a DJ who's been mixing for real and understand the counts and music, hell yeah, you give him about an hour, he will catch on to that MP just as quick as you would catch on within an hour's time on turntables, because you understand the counts and rhythms and how this shit go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. So you got boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So you catching the song from the first kick.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. When you chicka 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 boom, it's always on the one. You remember James Brown talking about the one?
Yeah.
Even when you talk about splicing tapes earlier.
Yeah.
If you want that shit to go boom, 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 you're gonna have to smooth that reel to where you're gonna hear the boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You're gonna be scratching, catch that count. Then you got to fold the tape in half, depending on how quick you want. If you want to go boom, boom, boom. So you fold the tape in a shorter manner where it go boom, 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 boom. And you fold it again, it's gonna go do 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 do. So you got 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32 if possible.
Like I was telling, my youngin' over here, Brother Slick, one thing I do like about production is you're never too old and you're never too young.
Not an age on it, baby.
And you've been doing this for a good little minute.
Since 85.
I found out today, years old, that you produced one of my favorite artists. You was on a tour with him and you produced with him, MC Shadi.
Oh yeah, Peter Jones all day, man. Man, getting back to the DJing shit. Shadi discovered me. Well, he heard about me because I had me and my little crew, we had won a DJ battle at the Civic Center downtown back in like '86. And 2 Live Crew No. Yeah. 2 Live Crew had performed after the DJ battle. But Mr. Mix, David Hobbs, him and they had noticed like, dang man, that dude up there got some shit popping off, because we had drum machines going while we were scratching. That's how we won the battle, because we had the little Boss drum machine.
Yeah.
And when that beat came in, I started cutting out with the beat, and they were like, okay, this dude here got some shit popping. So I met 2 Live Crew them back then. I didn't even really know Sade. I used to see him at the skating rink or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think some people on the east side started telling Sade about this little young dude who be in the AU.
Yeah.
Because I started DJing step shows too. So I was in high school, really like 9th, 10th grade, DJing college step shows. So my homeboy Mike Webster, Chris Huggins, they were some older cats, like 4 years older than me. They'll have me come with them to DJ. So they'll do a lot of mixing.
Yeah.
But I used to get up there when it was time to scratch and do some crazy shit. And boom, once I got at the step show, I was DJing, I was scratching It's Time. And next thing you know, Sade was like, man, that's got to be that dude everybody's talking about. And so he was right there at the stage, man, waiting for me to finish my show. And I was like, damn, my homeboy was like, man, Sade want to holler at you. And yo, man, we exchanged numbers and whatnot. And I think my sister ran into him, because I used to be at this club called the Phoenix. He thought I was out of school since I was doing these big events. I was like, nah, I'd be out of school in about another 6 months, bro. When I graduate, I'm ready to roll. And I had never even left Georgia, man. So that boy brought this tour schedule, man. My mom was like, oh, yeah, you getting on the airplane? And he was like, yeah. She was like, oh, I'm not sure about him getting on the plane. I was like, Mom, you're going to have to calm your nerves. My son has never flew on a plane. I got to, So the music business really plays a part in me, really just even seeing the world, man, at an early stage. The after parties and all.
Tour life.
You talking about a little 18, 19-year-old cat out here, man.
Interviews like this, man, like, there's so much context to it. You almost got to like break it up in like 4 or 5 parts. So you got to come back.
Feel free too, man. Feel free.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just over the years with you producing for so many people, most people that are probably watching this interview is probably saying, well, when y'all gonna talk about Mr. Clifford Harris?
T.I.P.
T.I.P. How did that come about? How did y'all get started? And like, how was it like working with Tip, like even from the beginning times to all the way until tonight?
It's Toomp, his cousin Toomp, Tremel Morgan. I took a break from the music and put my foot on the other side and started really saving up a lot of money and getting money. And every other play me and Toomp used to make, he always mentioned, his cousin who could rap his ass off. He's like, man, I got to bring him over here one day, Toomp. Man, you got to meet him. My little cousin Tip. And he finally brought him through. And I heard him. It was on a cassette. As a matter of fact, it was him and the PSC, but it was some beats that Tip did all the beats. Yeah. Yeah, you get Tip a Rolling Phantom and an LP, he go crazy.
What?
Yeah, he gets down. Yeah, I'm surprised he haven't even let the world see that yet. I don't know when he gonna really let niggas know that he can do this shit. Tip did shit. T.I. versus T.I.P, he did that beat. Me and him did the intro on I'm Serious and the outro. We both worked on that together. Wow. He started it off and I finished it up. We had man do the guitars, but yeah, Tip gets down. What's crazy, when we actually started working, I was working on a project because I was rapping for a second. I had a song called Ball Like This. So of course I was kind of talking about some of the street money I was getting and shit, not going into too much detail, but he put a verse on it and I played it to my niggas and they was like, bro, whoever that little niggas is. I'm like, damn, so y'all wasn't digging my verse? They were like, no, so you went in. But boy, that little young nigga you got at the end, boy. And he snapped on it. I wish I could find that record. I think DP got it. We started gelling and working a little bit, man. And I put a 5-song demo together for him. Recorded up here on Washington Road at my boy B Hood studio. And next thing you know, man, started catching the attention of KP and a few folks at the Face. And we was at Patchworks and KP messed around and my man Jason Jeter had let KP hear the demo. And everybody started talking about this little young nigga out of Southwest Atlanta, Hamilton Road, rapping his ass off. And once that demo started flying around and we got to deal with LaFace, that went pretty cool. We thought it was going to be way bigger than it was, but when LA left, it didn't get as much promotion. Speaking of the I'm Serious album.
That I'm Serious album, I remember I was a freshman in college when that came out, and I'm like, who is this? And then I remember my guy DJ Stickerbush, he actually started me in music, and Ty Cutter. they used to play it, and I'm like, they like, this is gonna be the next guy right here.
Yeah.
And I'm like the beats, everything was crazy. Everything was crazy. Like the chemistry like y'all had was just crazy.
I'm talking about I was bragging on him everywhere I went. I kept his CD on me just to blow niggas away. Like, hey man, y'all want to hear what's new? Let's play it. They'd be like, ooh. I got the same reaction from everybody I played that demo for. Crazy. That's when I knew I had something special. I was like, boy, this nigga here finna take over.
At the time, you were, of course, producing for him. Mm-hmm. And what equipment were you using at that time?
MPC 60, 62 to be exact.
The MPC 62?
Yep, I had the Proteus 2000. Still got that. I got all my Proteus racks, about 6 or 7 of those.
That turbo fat and that mo fat.
Listen, man, I'm gonna hook all that shit up one day soon. So I had the Proteus rack. I had the Phantom, and I had the ASR at that time too. Mm. Yeah, mostly. Matter of fact, a lot of that shit was done with the MP and the ASR. I wasn't really even using the modules, but for like extra stuff to sprinkle it. But 80% of the tracks was done with me MIDI and the MP with the ASR 10. Yeah. That's why we, the 808s, even certain strings, the ASR didn't really have no hell of a strings, but if I hear some strings from another keyboard, I would sample them into the ASR. And the ASR hit that boost, it just used to boost certain sounds up. So a lot of sounds, even instruments that you hear on those first few albums, yeah, the sounds in the ASR, a lot of those were sampled into the ASR. Wow. No factory sounds.
I'd have been like a kid in the candy shop.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
And then the crazy part about it is, like, it's not just with Tip. You produce for so many other people. Like, we was going through the credit. Of course, we went through Wikipedia and we was going through stuff. Because, like, we know a lot of stuff through Tip.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, we know about the big J.
Oh, yeah, Sean Carter.
The big J. You work with the big J. Because there's so much stuff in between that, too. Right? You did so much stuff with Tip. And so, who's some of the other people that you were working with at that time, too?
I was wondering how long you were going to speak on the Jay, because I'm going to say what led into me working with Jay is working with Ye. What's crazy, man, when we was working on the trap music album is when I officially met Kanye. And it's wild because when that, which album was it when Kanye's name was all over that album? Which one was that? It was the Blueprint?
Yeah, Blueprint, that first one.
Okay, the very first one. And I remember reading the credits. Me, Jay Jeter, and Tip, we just had a CD reading all the credits. And I was like, man, who the hell is this Kanye West guy? I never, even though it was spelled K-A-N-Y-E, but I used to be like, Kanye West, who the fuck is Kanye West? And then they was like, oh, no, it's pronounced Kanye. I was good at spelling bee or whatever. But anyway, I was like, man, whoever he is, he's next. You know what I mean? And so after I listened to that album and was already knowing that there was some other beasts out there, bro, we working on trap music. Next thing you know, they were like, hey, man, Kanye finna come through Patchwork and work with us. He kicked it down here with us for almost a week, maybe like a few days, close to a week. And
how was that experience?
It was dope. It was dope because matter of fact, that's when he was really finishing his album. And he played most of that first College Dropout to us before anybody heard it. Yeah. He was really trying to see what we thought about it. And man, we gave thumbs up to everything. I was like, bro, I didn't know you rap like that, man. He's like, yeah, man. I get down. He's
very confident.
Yeah, he was very confident about it. He kept playing songs, man. He might have played some shit that wasn't even on the album, but and that's when me and him met then. And it's crazy when we hooked up later on. We actually remember that experience, from the first time just working on trap music. And I remember we took him to the strip club. That's when they used to be doing the oil wrestling at one of them damn clubs, the one further down on Marietta Street. So from producing the Kanye situation, working with Kanye, the first song we did together was Can't Tell Me Nothing.
La,
yeah.
La, la.
And so when we got together on that and realized the magic that we had, man, he was like, hey, dude, I want to come to Atlanta and work on my next album, which was Graduation. We met up at my studio in the West End first.
Yeah.
Which, my room, was about this size. So his whole thing was like, hey, man, so when we gonna go to another studio? I was like, shit, go right here. You can record in there. He was like, no, man, I want to have some company, man. This room ain't big enough. And that's when we went on and booked Doppler. So we had Doppler for almost about 3 months straight. You know what I mean? And so everybody was coming through, man. And I ended up having 4 songs on that Graduation album, but 3 made the album. Can't Tell Me Nothing, Good Life, and Big Brother. So I did all 3 of those.
Oh, goodness.
Toomp killed this shit.
That's why I say we can't really play no beats today. We just got to hear this, because this is the essence of we really dealing with somebody who has really been involved in the game. And we even talk about the stuff in the 90s and all that stuff. We haven't really got to that point. But like, because I know a lot of people want to hear, about the Big J.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, you just wasn't like, how some people just like producers and they just kind of produce and they go. But like, you had a real relationship with Jay. And then when that movie came out and I heard that soundtrack, when I heard that soundtrack and I heard that beat, what was going through your head when you made
Say Hello?
Yes.
My man, Big John Platt,
Yes.
who was at EMI, but then he was running Warner Chapel, but now he's back with EMI.
Yeah. He
John
signed
Platt.
me.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, John done gave a lot of folks nice checks, man. That's my guy. I love him to death. Matter of fact, because you got to remember now, this was around the time when Jay was talking about retiring. And John hit me and was like, yo, Jay finna go in, working on an album. This one I knew Jay was a genius around this time. I knew he was already a talented brother. But this one I knew he was a genius is that when they were saying, hey, man, he's going to make an album called American Gangster. You see how you said it was a soundtrack to that movie? Yeah. It wasn't. It's the fact that on some cross-marketing type shit, Jay has mastered that to where he know how to keep reinventing himself. Everybody know he's dope. That's when I really understood, like, oh shit, he's timing this album with American Gangster, the movie. It don't have anything to do with, but some of the raps that he got is kind of in reference to some of the reels that they sent him.
Yeah.
So what he did was basically name that movie that because everybody was just holding their breath for this new Denzel Washington movie based around, the big drug dealer, out of Harlem or whatnot. So, and this wasn't even with Def Jam or nothing. So Big John was like, hey, you can't wait for the label to send you a plane ticket, go on and dig in that. I know you got it,
Yeah.
You and Bernard, come on up here, my manager. He said, man, come on up to New York, man. And so we got a room at the Hudson Hotel. And I was actually going through beats because John specifically was like, hey, man, he wants some soul samples. But he said, you can bring some original shit too. If you mess around and like them, boom, you'll have all the publishing. I was like, that'll be cool too. But I still went through a few soul samples. And there was that one joint, The Love We Share, by, I don't think that's Tom Brock, if I'm not mistaken. That song was used by Player Circle, but the song really didn't catch. But I was always crazy about that sample and knew that I could freak it in a similar way, but still put my edge to it, as far as my drums and my ride cymbals and all the goodies, the 808s. And once it's actually on YouTube with me putting that track together. And I knew that was going to be the one that he bid on. So matter of fact, when I got to New York, I played like 2 other joints first. And he was like, man, okay, those dope. What else you got? And my manager was like, elbow me, man, put that shit on. And once I hit that play, he heard that track. He just started walking around the room. Told me, Guru, turn that mic on.
There's a question I did want to ask you though. There's actually 2 questions I want to ask you. Do you like the streaming era or do you like the CD tape era better for producers, publishing, and money-wise? What do you think about each one of them?
Okay, the tangible hardware in comparison to streaming. And I don't want to sound like I'm just cranky or an old man who caught up into the past. But the whole streaming thing, man, and even when I hear Noriega speak on it and a few other artists, that's when I realized it wasn't just me, man. And because we come from that era to where tangible products, man, shit, same thing like your shoes, the fucking Air Max, the Jordans. Like, that's why.
My Air Max is looking good.
Yeah, they fly. Listen, I peeked up time I hit the road. I like them bitches hard. That's why you see lines wrapped around coming out the malls and coming out the doors and whatnot, because that's a tangible product. And that's something that people can hold and touch. So that the same way how it used to be with with certain albums that's about to come out. It was lines wrapped around the store when you heard the new T.I. album was about to drop outside of Super Sounds and all the other record stores. You would see a long line, and those artists would show up at those stores and sign your fucking music, sign your cassette or your album. When the shit went viral, it took away so many positive aspects, man, of the game. No more in-stores. There's nothing to sign. What can you sign? Because it's a wave now. What can you print the credits on to know who the engineer was, to know who was singing those magnificent backgrounds, to know who mixed this song, making it sound so well, who recorded this, what studio did they use? I learned about studios like Chung King and all those because I used to read the credits on LL and them shit. So when I finally got to New York, I'm like, oh shit, Slick Rick recorded here. Oh shit, this is what LL did this song. This is what Nas did this. Because you was able to see, get all that information just by reading the credits. So it was a lot that came with that, man, you know, and even I come from the era of buying a fucking vinyl album. Boom, you got this 12-inch, maybe 6 songs on each side, maybe 5 on each side. But guess what? You get a poster.
Yeah.
You know, you got a fan club address on there.
You right.
And you got the words to the songs, all the credits. You got words to eat, the lyrics to all the songs.
I grew up on the streaming era. Like my biggest record was a streaming hit record, and I've seen some pretty good residuals.
Yeah.
If I would have went diamond then.
That's what I'm saying. See, it's good that you saw some good residuals, but if you ever had a taste of just not even diamond, of the residuals that you would have got off of a gold album, which was $500,000, off something that's selling for $10.99. If you would have had a chance to see that check, you would say, man, this streaming shit ain't shit, bro.
Okay, so right now, say for instance you did a song 20 years ago, and back then you would have to, of course, either have a tape or some type of medium to play it in. You have to find it. Is it kind of cool now with the streaming that, okay, I can go ahead and just hook it up online and play it, and then I can get a, you know, some residuals from that? Or was the residuals that much back then to where it was kind of like,
well, hell yeah, it was the points were bigger. That's why right now I would rather, honestly, and me and a lot of other producers feel this way, I would almost rather just charge a decent fee up front and be like, man, it ain't really the royalties ain't shit no more. So I might as well just charge you $30K for this beat and just say, man, forget the royalties, give me my $30K and I'll keep it moving. Because, you know, of course, you want your publishing.
Yeah.
Just in case, you know, that song get picked up by a movie or whatever, or a brand, or Coca-Cola might pick that song up. So, boom, that's another check. Sync fee, that's good money. But royalties, man, if I could just tell, that cut down attorney fees. Because, shit, if we just doing this and I'm making sure the publishing split is right, and the royalties really basically are starting to fade out because we talking about breaking down what you're gonna get out of a fraction of a fraction. That's terrible, bro. So yeah, when you crunch those numbers, and that's why now when I think a few people just put it on Instagram about how much the guy from Spotify gets and how he's paying these record labels all this money just to keep quiet. That's why you don't hear labels complaining too tough no more, because he's breaking everybody off to keep their mouth closed. But the artists and the producers and the writers of these songs, man, we ain't seeing no real royalties no more. That's why the mob don't fuck with the music business no more the way they used to, because it ain't really it ain't no auditing. How can you audit a stream? See what I'm saying? It's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
You can audit a motherfucker and say, hey man, I sold this many and it was getting $8.99 and I was getting at least $100.50 out of each one of those $8.99s. So when Nelly sold 10 million records, when 50 sold 10 million, when Outkast went diamond, we talking about some shit that went for like $10 a piece, bruh. Label didn't have no problem doing $1 million video.
Yeah.
And sending you a studio with $1 million budget and mixed by some of the best engineers and the best studios in the world, because it was real money coming in. Real money coming in. Believe me, if those checks were still anywhere like that, man, Puffy would still be active. Dr. Dre would be way more active. Everybody who you loved in the 80s and 90s, if those royalties still were anywhere the way they used to be compared to streaming, a lot of cats would be way more active than they are right now.
Damn.
Straight up. Facts. Facts.
Oh my goodness.
That's why Dr. Dre feel like he's better off giving Grand Theft Auto a fucking album than this industry shit.
Oh man.
The Contract, have you heard that? A lot of people don't even know that album is out. It's a Grand Theft Auto. It's on YouTube. This shit kind of jamming too.
Oh my goodness.
Eminem got a verse on that so hard on this song called Gospel. Oh my God. But yeah, man, royalties just really don't exist no more when it comes to the streaming game. And I'm wondering, and just like, I don't know if you remember Napster. That's basically that, like they just let the Napster guy take over. First they kind of, tried to chastise him for that shit. But really, y'all letting that whole shit go down in a real legal form now, in a legal way. It's the same thing.
Yes.
And we are getting raped, bro. As creators, we're getting raped straight up. And now people are starting to crunch the numbers and compare. But a person who haven't really gotten royalty checks from in a tangible form, or it just as off of a $8.99, getting what your percentage out of a $10 CD or whatever your royalties, your split were. If you just came in the game and your first royalty checks came from streaming, of course you're gonna say, "Oh man, there's money in streaming." Yeah, there's money in it, but since you didn't have a chance to get a taste of what it was before that, you can't really say but so much. You don't have but so much to say if you're just getting into it. You feel me? I think the world they get what I'm saying.
We definitely gonna have to definitely gonna have you come back here like this because we gonna break this down, because I know there's another thing that we were talking about that you were saying about when these artists perform your records at these shows, producers should get paid, because if an artist is performing at these shows making $40,000 a night, why can't you just break us off a little bit?
So when y'all perform these records, it should be a fee every time. If you do whatever song, the writers of that song, when you on stage getting $50,000 a night, we'll be happy if we just see a $100 check come to our house every time you get off stage. That ain't nothing. Mm-hmm. So if you go on tour, I feel good knowing that, hey, if an artist who I produce is on tour, knowing that he gonna produce at least perform at least 3 of my songs. Hell yeah, damn, I got a check coming to the house cause such on tour.
And it makes you want to work even a little bit more.
And it make you want to even give beats away with no fee at that point. Imagine if you know that you giving, and that way, and you know what, and that'll make cats really get back into a singles game and the big records, cause you'll have the mind state of, hey, I want to give this artist the biggest record. See, that's where I come from. Right now, a lot of cats are just happy to be on an album. I come from the era to where, I want that single. I want the one that's going to be playing when you go into the bank before you get out the car, and when you goddamn done talking to your bank manager, and that motherfucker playing again. Before you go into the mall, boop, you heard it again. Right before you go to bed, you're hearing it. So we talking about a song, if you got that song that's playing like 7 times a day, that single, that's what producers used to really work for, because we understood what comes with that. Just think, you're going to be on BET all day. You got 106 in Park, MTV Jam, Rap City, Video Vibrations. So that means, think about how many times What You Know, You Don't Know Me, and all them tip records that I was doing back then, the rotation that those was getting just off those video shows. So we don't even have those platforms to really play our music no more now. The royalties just not coming like they used to. So we just got to get more creative as producers, and really
and don't even forget about the ringtone movement.
The ringtone, yeah. And now, but I ain't gonna lie, honestly, we just got to get more independent, man, and just get our own database together, and to where people want our music, they just got to download it. And you can charge whatever you want per download.
Man.
Cut out all the middlemen. If you sell 20,000, that's gonna be like gold to you, because that's your world. You set those numbers.
We just got a nice little talking to right now from one of the best to ever do it. Like, for all the producers that are out right now, what's some words that you would tell all the young producers right now, if they're just getting started and they're trying to get into this game now? What would be something that you would tell all the young producers?
Stop lowballing yourself. Or you make it bad, man. You make it real bad. You make it hard on the other people who really trying to come in with quality music. And you may have quality music, but if you got quality music and giving it away for crackhead prices, crackhead numbers, you killing the market, and you killing yourself at the same time. Because the people who you are giving this to gonna think that they could get that treat everybody like that. So now you got cats who know my music, but they may not know me. They be like, shit, OG, you got some beats? I'm like, yeah, I got music. I don't just have beats. Okay, how much you charge? Shit, man, you know. If you're independent, man, I'm gonna hit you, you know, shit, you might get 2 tracks for $12K, you know, 2 for 20. Oh man, that hot, man. I got a little nigga, man, shit, he don't tell me nothing, man. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not him. Do he got Grammys? Do he have an attorney? Do we have people going over here? Do you even give him paperwork? No, he don't ask for paperwork or nothing. Okay, them the kind of guys making this shit hard because they don't even have attorneys. They just giving beats away. They're not handling business, and that'll make a person really just end up learning more of the business than this person they getting the beats from. And guess what? He's gonna sign them. If he signed this little young nigga, he don't really know nothing. Now I'm finna eat because I know more than him. He gonna go get this young nigga a publishing deal for about $300,000. Well, he gonna get him about 75 and take that 225. You know what I mean? And go crazy. We done heard a lot of them situations in the past 12 years of just an inexperienced guy who just lowballing himself. But at the same time, man, hold on to your stems. Don't be so quick to give people your stems, man, your files. And when you're dealing with certain people, man, you kind of know who you can trust to give certain things to. Sometimes try not to mix your 2 tracks too good. Because them shits can be mastered and turned into a masterpiece. You know what I mean? I mean, man, just learn the business, man. Get a book. Same way that you know had to learn everything else, learn that. There's no owner's manual to it, but it's a manual to how to move. You know, and it's a lot of books that you can read and just understand the whole breakdown. Just know, man, you'll be done gave somebody a beat for free. But let's say 50 Cent end up using that in BMF movie, or Coca-Cola end up taking this beat. So you just happy with this $1,000 this guy gave you? But now they done gave him $100K on a sync fee, but you done signed a work for hire, not knowing what you signed, because you know you done signed, you waived the rights to own the ownership of this beat, because you don't know the business. You got to educate yourself. And one thing, the music business is the only business that people jump into with no knowledge or education. Anything else, restaurant, car wash, hair salon, everything else, you got to pass a certain bar. You got to have the state board to come and approve shit. You got to be certified. Music business is just so open to where anybody can just jump in this shit and don't know nothing. You got to educate yourself, man, in this game, man, you know? I don't care how talented you are, how many people you make move at the club. Learn this game, period.
I needed that sermon right there.
I ain't mean to yell at y'all either, man. I love y'all out there. They like, damn, Toomp, sonning niggas. No.
But he's giving it real, and that's why I am so excited that we got to do this. We're going to definitely have Toomp come back again.
Yes, sir. I'd be glad to.
But man, what an interview. Man, I appreciate you coming by, bro.
Love, bro.
And yeah, you guys already know what time it is. We're gonna have Toomp come back, man, and we're gonna really get even a little bit deeper with the conversation. But I hope you guys learned something from this interview. Hope you guys soaked it all the way in. And Toomp, I appreciate you coming by, man.
Appreciate you having me, brother. Nice spot, man. Definitely have to come through here and put some work in, bring some business in.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
And as you guys already know, like I always say, peace out.